know what I was looking at there for a minute. Welcome back. Open Studio live stream number 8, I think. This is the second passage on this painting. Blocked in what the kind of mess that you see up on the canvas now. We're working towards something that represents that picture up top here that I took while out plein air painting in the fall. And I think we're going to go ahead and continue to build the shapes and then the shapes within the shapes. A lot of fractal type shapes with the ripples in the water and the grasses in this painting. So we want to build a lot of layers. I want to get to a certain point with that effort before I even block in the ducks. And there's 3 of them. One in the foreground, swimming away, one in the background, kind of hovering but looking toward this direction, and another one, 2 males and a female. In this instance, the female is almost blending in, which I think is by design in nature. So we're going to go ahead and just build up more layers within the water and the reflections there and within the grasses. So we'll go ahead and work on that today. Not a lot of talking, not a lot of explanation. This is an open studio session, so there'll be long periods of quiet where I'm just working away. Mixing up my own green. I have essentially cadmium yellow light and Prussian blue. And I'm leaning toward the blue because we're just building up off of what is nearly black, and let's see how that reads. Not terrible. easel's rocking so much all of a sudden, but we'll deal with that later. Going in with Prussian blue being kind of the dominant color here for a second. Pull the rest of that, or nearly the rest of that puddle into the pile. And a lot more water. Or even some more. We're going to let some drips happen. Doing that here. Doesn't look too good right now, but that's okay. We are building layers. And textures, very abstract right now. We want this painting to read very simply from far away, but at the same time we wanted to include some interesting things which appear to be kind of attentions to detail from mid-distance to far away. When you look up close, we want it to be nice and abstract, and that's what we're going for here. So some different layers of cool and warm. With a black mixture again. tack up a little bit. We'll wipe it with paper towel. Go over it again with a slightly lighter color. And then we might get to a point where we're starting to build in some midtones. And maybe even put some of the sparkles in the water today, just to get a little sneak peek on what that will look like. Alright, so I'm going to go clean out my palette and my brush and my bowl of water, because we don't want phthalo green taking over phthalo blue, or Prussian blue rather, taking over. Alright, what next? Dry off my palette, it's currently filled with water. Unlock my iPad. Now I would guess that, although there's no real way of knowing, I would guess this painting is going to take at least 4 sessions to complete. Maybe more, maybe less, but that's what I would guess. It's 20 by 24 inch canvas, so decent sized canvas. And the layers are really gonna have a significant impact on the effectiveness of this painting, so this is going to take some time to build. This is session 2, so it doesn't look like much, but we'll get there. Alright, I'm going to go and maybe a little bit of the, simplify this a little bit. There's a common value amongst some of the greens right before the top part of the reeds in the background. It's, if you squint your eyes, it's probably close to one of the big tones in the painting. Tone meaning difference between like a range of light and dark, and right in there you can see it, and it reflects into the water. So I might bring some of that in. And if time allows, with about an hour to paint, if time allows, I'll put some of the sparkles in the water, some of those yellows and golds, and may even block in a duck or two. But that's a lot to do in that time, we'll see. Alright, so we'll go to the green. For this I'm going to use cobalt blue. It's not bad. Yeah, definitely have to gray that out just a little bit. This is almost the green that we would come over the top with. Later. A little too strong with the black, so we'll mark cobalt blue. And my yellow. We'll mix that in. Yeah, we should get here. Why? Yeah. Good. Keep this pretty watery. The more drips, the better. some more splatters on there with this color while I have it. Probably risk of overdoing it a little bit, but that's okay. I'll switch to my right hand here to get the right angle. One more passage with this here. Alright, I'm gonna rinse everything out. Then I'll come back and reload my palette. Be right back. Chaos right now. Yeah. We are back. And just gonna take a breath here, a sip of coffee, and then we'll load up the palette. Not looking like much right now. That's okay. what I'm going to do now is I'll wipe this a little bit once it tacks up a little bit. Doesn't take long with acrylic. But I'll just quickly take the excess off. I want to let the drips run while I'm sipping my coffee here and loading up my palette and talking. What we'll do is we'll look for some of the golden hues. We'll look to kind of mix up a color that is a muted version of kind of the middle ground golden, red, peach color that you see dancing around in the foliage and in the reflections, and we'll probably apply it the same way. Some splatters and drips, and then we'll run through again. Maybe reinforcing some of the darks, and if we have time we'll block in the ducks. Might not have time today to do that, but we'll see. Big day today. Big day. A little bit of a one-day adventure today, so just gotta make sure we get ready for that. Also have to shovel the sidewalk on the side of the house so our gas people can get in if they come today. Good. I just want to avoid some big blotchy smudges if we can, and still not fully dry, but at least it's less likely to mix with the gold that we're going to mix up. And a lot of those ends of the drips are kind of broken, which creates like a nice diffused effect. Pretty cool. All right. Same thing. Let me check the comments real quick. My computer's taking its time, so we'll get back to work. But you're watching studio session number 2 on Ducks on a Pond, which is the painting that we're working on here. We're working in acrylic. On a 20 by 24 canvas. This is going to kind of be like the same kind of aspect that Monet's Lily Pond. We have the upside down world. The bulk of the canvas is going to be taken up by the reflections in the pond. So I'm going to mix up some of that gold. to some yellow light. I'm going to use some of my warm light. Probably a little bit of my transparent orange. I don't think I'll need a lot of that at all. And inevitably there's going to be a little bit of my green residue. That's okay. I think we're going to approach this much the same way. We'll get close, roughly close to the mid-tone version. It's a little too intense, and I'll have to tone it down. We don't want to go that intense this early. Add a little rainy gray. Oops, it's a little too much. That's okay. Closer. Yeah, I'm looking for a duller version. Like you're going to see this color throughout, or some version of it. And I'm looking for the dullest version of it because we want to build up, selectively use areas to highlight. So I'm going to get quite a bit of water in here. And splatter, and I think maybe for this, what we might do is turn the canvas upside down. And the reason why I'm going to do this is because I think the direction of the splatters is going to impact the marks that are left on the canvas quite a bit. I'm going to turn a reference photo upside down if it'll let me. It probably won't let me. So we're going to have to use our brains here a little bit, which might hurt this time of day. Alright. So now what I'm going to look to do is apply these splatters in a mirror to mirror what you see up on screen. So and it's on the vertical and horizontal axis, which makes it even crazier. Okay. So a little heavy-handed in the beginning, that's okay. Don't lock up on me. And then turn it back around. I'm going to be a little bit more selective with the rest of the works here in the water. This looks like an absolute mess right now, but that's okay. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. Oops. Yeah, we got a long ways to go. There's going to be some more abstract mark making, I think. Maybe one or two more full sessions before we start putting some of the illusions of detail, including the ducks perhaps as well. I'm going to switch to a different brush. I'm going to switch to a flat. And so we're going to use this to, this is a, what is this? I abuse my brushes, so. Is that number 5? Flat brush? I don't know. That run. I stopped that drip. I should have. Just gonna let it go. I don't want to go too crazy with this, but sometimes it's helpful at this early stage to get a sense for, what the painting's likely to look like when you put the lights in full force. We're nowhere near that, but yeah, at least giving shape to the contrasting light patterns. When I say contrasting, relative to the shadow patterns, which we've spent the bulk of our time focused on so far in the early stages of this painting. A lot of repeating shapes, fractal shapes in this, but nature's funny. It gives you these repeating shapes, but their placement and their exact contour and so many other little characteristics that lend to variety are seen in nature. So you don't want it repeating perfectly over and over again, because then it'll end up detracting from the painting. So right from the get-go here, if it seems like I'm going slow, that's why I'm trying to avoid repetitiveness that doesn't look natural. Okay. I'm going to come up with some more of this paint. I could probably use every bit of this that's on my palette and then move on. And this will get lightened here. These marks, these highlights will be a little whiter later because they're actually reflecting the sky. orange that I laid down as the kind of toning. The transparent orange oxide serves as a little bit of a guide for this. I don't want to erase all of it, but coming over the top of it and using that as a template for where I'm going to put most of these marks, it works to your advantage here. And once again, you don't want to erase all those marks. Going for a bit here, and we'll probably wrap up for today. And when we come back, we'll probably focus on building silhouetted block-in of those ducks, which will be in a cool gray, and we'll use a lot of that same color to create some additional suggestions of additional layers of grass in the background, because it's a very similar value, and we'll get some reflections in the water. And then probably 2 more sessions at least after that. close to done for today. I'm going to increase the angle here. There we go. We're going to leave it there for now. Going to get ourselves ready for the day. Let these drips that are on there take shape even more. Check the time. Best case scenario, what I'll do is just reinforce some of the darkest areas. But I think we're close to done here for today. going to take the next 5 minutes just to reinforce some of the darkest shadow patterns. I'm going to use primarily Mars Black. And we're doing this just so we have less. I'll put a little raw umber mixed in there, and I have a little bit of my golden color still on the palette in a very wet format, but we're doing this just so we can come right over the top without any worry of muddying colors in our next session. So, dark spots here, here. Keep those because we'll be able to use them. This one in the water. I can always glaze that with a nice magenta or something like that to make it more interesting, but I just want to make sure that I don't have to work that in at a time where I'm working on midtones. Necessarily see this in the photo. I'm going to go ahead and bring this little broken line all the way, nearly all the way across the painting. This is a means of kind of tricking the eye of the viewer into thinking that there's a little bit of a stronger demarcation between land and water, and there's really not in reality, but at the end of the day, when this is done, we want a painting that reads well from 7 to 20 feet away. Hey Google, stop timer.
Okay, the 1 hour and 15-minute one, which is up now on Main and Kitchen. Cancel.
So in any event, we're going to go ahead and conclude this session. Thanks for checking out this Open Studio live stream. Second session for Two Ducks on the Pond, or Ducks on the Pond. Appreciate your encouragement in the chat feature there. I'll get better over time at responding. But hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. Stay well.